Hello viewers. Today's topic for lecture is the gene organization in chloroplast and its expression. Now let us look into what do you mean by plastid before we go to the gene structure of chloroplast. Plastids are major double membraned organelle which are found in plant cells, algae and some other eukaryotic organisms. Plastids are site of manufacture and storage of important chemical compounds that can be used by plants. The type of pigments in plastid determines the cell color. They have a common evolutionary origin and possess a double-stranded DNA molecule that is circular like that of prokaryotic cell or a bacterial cell. Now what are the mechanism or procedure involved in production of chloroplasts or plastids? From proplastids, the undifferentiated plastids, etioplasts are produced, the predecessor of chloroplasts. So etioplasts will lead to three different kinds of plastids: chromoplast, chloroplast and leucoplast. What are chromoplasts? They are colored plastids. They are meant for pigment synthesis and storage. We have something called as leucoplasts produced from etioplasts. They are colorless plastids. They are meant for production or synthesis of terpenes. Leucoplasts further are divided into amyloplasts, etioplasts, and proteinoplasts. What is amyloplasts? Amyloplasts are the plastids which store starch and they are meant for detecting the gravity which within the plant. So for geotrophism. We have elioplasts which can store fats and proteinoplasts for storing and also to modify the proteins. Now what are chloroplasts? Chloroplasts are double membrane structure which are present in plant cell. It is an organelle. So plastids are plant cellular organelle with a approximately 120 to 150 kilobase. The chloroplast genome most commonly includes around 100 genes, and genome present in 1000 to 10,000 copies per cell was reported by Bendick in the year 1987. Now this chloroplast has a maternally inherited pattern which is reported in most of the angiosperm plant species. Plastid genome resembles bacterial genome in many aspects and also contain some features of multicellular organisms like RNA editing and split genes, that's exons and introns. Now what is the chloroplast genome? What it is really mainly comprised of? Now just have a look at this screen or a slide. You can see the chloroplast genome or the regions present in it, which includes large single copy region and small single copy region. And you have two more regions, that's inverted repeat A, inverted repeats B. Now these inverted repeats are of variation in length, or the genome itself are in variation in length due to the presence of inverted repeats. Now conifers and other group of legume plants will not have inverted repeats associated in them. Now, chloroplasts originated from endosymbiosis around 1.5 billion years ago, when a cyanobacterial cell wall engulfed by the heterotrophic eukaryotes. The chloroplast genome is heavily reduced compared to that of free living cyanobacteria. Over time, many parts of the chloroplast genome were transferred to the nuclear genome of the host, a process called as endosymbiotic gene transfer. So chloroplasts may contain 60 to 100 genes, whereas cyanobacteria often have more than 1500 genes in their genome. So this is regarding the chloroplast genome reduction and how the genes are transferred. Now let's have a look of the genome of the chloroplast, which is found in Markentia polymorpha, a liverwort. Now the genes are duplicates. The duplicate genes encodes each of the four subunits 23S, 16S, 4.5S and 5S of ribosomal rRNA. So that's rRNA which is which is produced in the chloroplast. Now there are 37 genes which are encoding all the transfer RNAs molecules used for translation within the chloroplast. We also have 4 genes which encodes for the subunits of RNA polymerase, which is used for transcription within the chloroplast. A gene encoding the larger subunit of the enzyme ribosco, that's ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase, are also synthesized in the chloroplast DNA. 9 genes are responsible for the production of components of photosynthesis, photosystem 1 and 2. 6 genes encode for chloroplast ATP synthase. Genes for 19 of the approximate 60 proteins used to construct the chloroplast ribosomes are produced in the genome of the chloroplasts. Now, what is a chloroplast genome in liverwort? You can see a genome structure, the chloroplast genome in a liverwort, Markentia polymorpha. You have genes, the duplicates for the synthesis of ribosomal RNA on either side. You have one part of the gene for 23S rRNA, the duplicate on the other side 23S rRNA. Then you have gene for synthesis of 16S rRNA, 16S rRNA. Now there are 3 important locations where they are involved in production of tRNA. This particular gene, which is localized in between 23S rRNAs, are meant for production of tRNA leucine. Then you have this gene which is present just above the ribosco gene, that's meant for tRNA tryptophan. Then you have tRNA threonine, which is produced just after the gene present in between the subunits of RNA polymerase and ribosco. We have a gene which is present just below the tRNA trip, which is called as ribosco gene, meant for the production of larger subunit of ribosco enzyme. Then going above this tRNA gene, we have important subunits which is meant for the production of RNA polymerase, which is taken care or which takes care of the transcription process which occurs in the liverwort. Now this chloroplast genome in the liverwort is having 1,21,024 base pair, which is really or actually involved in the activities mentioned now, which controls the entire process. Now, what I told is regarding the genome of the protoplast, chloroplast. Now, what is the application part of chloroplast? Now, before we go to application part, let us have a look into transplastomic plant. A transplastomic plant is a genetically modified plant in which we have a new genes that have been inserted into the nuclear DNA, into the chloroplast DNA, but not into the nuclear DNA. So you have a transplastomic plant where a modified plant is obtained by not inserting the gene into the nuclear DNA but into the chloroplast DNA. Major advantage of this technology is that in many plant species, plastid DNA is not transmitted through pollen, which prevents gene flow from the genetically modified plant to the other plant. Now, the genetically modified plants must be safe for the environment and suitable for coexistence with the conventional and organic crop. So, towards such safety, a major hurdle of posed by the potential of outcrossing of transgene via pollen movement is stopped. Plastid transformation will also yield transplastomic plants in which pollen does not contain the gene and there is increase in the biosafety which is associated and which facilitates the coexistence of the genetically modified plant with the other plants which are conventionally grown by organic agricultural process. Now there are techniques which is involved in getting or raising this plants, transplastomic plants. There are two approaches. One is biolystic approach. The other one is polyethylene glycol treatment of protoplasts. Biolystic gun method is involved in plastid vector which is coated onto a high density tungsten or gold microparticles or projectiles with a diameter of 0.6 to 1 micrometer, which are then delivered at a very high velocity through the cell wall and membrane and then through the double plastid membrane. So they are targeted to the chloroplast. PEG method involves protoplasts. So protoplasts of the plant cells are isolated by enzymatic treatment. They are freshly isolated and allowed to be present in the media or it is put into the media containing polyethylene glycol that will allow the permeability of the plasma membrane and will help in the DNA uptake. So it will facilitate the uptake of the DNA. So what happens subsequently with the mechanism largely uncharacterized, the plasmid DNA passes the plastid membranes and reaches the stroma where it gets integrates into the plastome as during biolystic transformation. Now, a relevant small number of species have been transformed using this approach, mainly because it requires efficient isolation and culturing procedure protocol and regeneration of protoplasts. It's actually a tedious and technically demanding in vitro technology. On the positive side, no special equipment is needed. Now, process of chloroplast genome transformation occurs by creating a vector which is having a gene for promoter, a gene for terminator, a gene for selectable marker. So through the biolystic gun procedure or by the polyethylene glycol method, the DNA is shooted into the plant or inserted into the plant and the plants are selected by using selectable marker by supplementing the media with suitable substrate and they are raised by plant tissue culture method. Now what you get is transplastomic plants. Now after selection, we will have to check for the characters. So it is highly desirable to limit transgene expression to certain tissues, organs or developmental stages of the stages for the following reasons. High level expression of foreign protein may have deleterious effect on phenotypic effects. or it can impose a significant metabolic burden on the plant because they are expressing continuously. They need to work continuously. There will be a metabolic burden to the plant. Otherwise, will function in a lower pace. Then there are deleterious effects of constitutive transgene expression, which can occur if gene products are harmful to the transformed plant. If plastic transformation is carried out in food crops, contamination of the food chain with the plant produced chemicals or pharmaceutical must be prevented. This could be accomplished by making transgene expression dependent on an inducer. So only in the presence of inducer the gene should express. Otherwise, it results in some problems. Now, what are the advantages of chloroplast engineering? There is no position effect. Absence of position effect due to lack of a compact chromatin structure and efficient transgene integration by homologous recombination is observed. It avoids inadvertent inactivation of host gene by transgene integration. The next advantage of chloroplast engineering is disulfide bond formation. The ability to form disulfide bonds and folding of the protein, that too in particular human protein, results in high level production of biopharmaceutically important plant products. So that adds up to the pharmaceutical application. Third is risk of transgene escape. Chloroplast genome is maternally inherited and there is rare occurrence of pollen transmission. So it provides a strong level of biological containment and thus reduces the escape of transgene from one cell to another. Expression level, the fourth advantage. It exhibits high level of transgene expression and thus high level of protein production due to the presence of multiple copies of chloroplast transgene per cell. So it remains unaffected by phenomenon such as pre or post transcriptional silencing. The next advantage is expression of edible vaccine. So high level of expression and engineering of the foreign genes without the use of antibiotic resistant genes makes this compartment ideal for the development of edible vaccines. Codon usage. Chloroplast is originated from cyanobacteria through endosymbiotic theory. It shows significant similarity with the bacterial genome. Thus, any bacterial genome can be inserted into the chloroplast genome. Expression of toxic proteins. Foreign proteins observed to be toxic in the cytosol are non-toxic when accumulated within transgenic chloroplasts, as they are compartmentalized inside chloroplasts. No gene silencing. So gene silencing or RNA interference does not occur in genetically engineered chloroplasts. So a lack of epigenetic interference allowing stable gene expression is happening in chloroplasts. Multiple gene expressions. You can have multiple gene expression which is possible due to polycystonic mRNA transcription. So instead of a single gene, you can also add multiple genes. So that will help, that can be expressed in the chloroplast. Homologous recombination. Now, chloroplast transformation involves homologous recombination and is therefore very precise and predictable. This will minimize the insertion of unnecessary DNA that accompanies in the nuclear genome transformation process. This also avoids the deletions and rearrangement of transgene DNA and host genome DNA at the site of insertion. So now we have to just look into the chloroplast transformation which is being achieved in plants. So there are few plants where they are effective. Few examples to be mentioned. like petunia, soybean, sugarcane, sugar beet, rice, eggplant, cauliflower, tobacco, lettuce, Arabidopsis, tomato, carrot, oilseed, potato, cabbage, cotton, etc. So there are transformation by chloroplast which has been achieved in these plants. Now, how do you go for confirmation of transgene integration into the chloroplast genome? Integration of transgene into the cultures was confirmed by PCR method using internal primers. The first primer anneals to the flanking sequence and second primer anneals to the transgene. Our expected size of PCR product was amplified and confirmed by PCR method. Integration of the transgenes into the plastid genome were investigated by Southern blot analysis. Genomic DNA from transformed and untransformed cultures was digested and appropriate restriction enzymes transferred to the nitrocellulose membrane and was probed with a radio labeled phosphate 32. What are the limitations of chloroplast transformation? Now, transformation frequencies are much lower than those for nuclear genes. Next, we have prolonged selection procedures associated with chloroplast transformation under high selection pressure, and it requires for the recovery of the transformants. The method of transgene transfer to the chloroplasts are limited, and they are either expensive or requires regeneration from protoplasts. Products of the transgene ordinarily accumulate in green parts only. You can't expect the products to get accumulated elsewhere apart from the green parts. So what are the aims of chloroplast engineering and applications of the engineering process? The very first application is to get resistant plant varieties to insects, bacteria, fungal, and for viral diseases. We can also get different types of herbicide resistant plants, drought resistant plant, salt resistant plant, and cold tolerance plant. We can get cytoplasmic male sterility factor. So, cytoplasmic male sterility is one application. We can engineer the procedure. So, metabolic engineering is one important proven method. Phytoremediation of toxic metals, where plants are used to bring about remediation of important toxic metals. So instead of using other kind of bioremediation, we can think of phytoremediation. Production of vaccines, biopharmaceuticals, pharmaceutical important products that can be produced. Industrially important enzymes can also be produced by chloroplast engineering, and biofuels, which can be produced in increased amount due to high expression of the gene which are present in the chloroplast. Now let me conclude with few important aspects. Chloroplast has a pivotal role in life sustaining. Gene gun and PEG treatment is most used technique for chloroplast transformation. High copy number, polycystonic gene expression, uniparental transition, homologous recombination is the important characteristics of the chloroplast transformation. INACT is most and efficient methods for making and the marker-free transplastome plant. With this, I wind up my talk. Thank you.